So I guess starting off with you, I would say Nick asked me in the car how the original idea sparked, and I know we talked about getting some more color in our designs. What inspired our first rendition of the designs that you came up with?
Yeah, so the first rendition, I'll pull it up here, we can show it off. So I created this during our, what was that one?
Yes.
What challenge was that?
The persistence challenge.
I started doing the persistence challenge because my two things were, my yearly goals were get in the gym more and do more art. So in the video I was like, oh, let me take the opportunity to be cool. Let me do some art, some drawing, but actually make it Excelsior related. So we knew our winter was wrapping up and we needed to start planning for the spring. So this idea actually came from an old design. I think I saw one of like Stumpy's old shirts that it had like his logo on it with some like trees in the background. And I always really liked it from like years ago. It always like stuck in my mind. So I was like, let me play around with that a little bit. So I took that, but I took our logo and just wanted to add like spring things going on. So of course the sun, grass growing, vines, animals, and the biggest thing we liked out of it was the big logo with everything like wrapping around it, but also the cherry blossoms. I actually painted shoes that were like cherry blossom themed that came out like some of the best I've ever painted. So I knew I wanted to at least have the cherry blossoms for sure for spring because I knew they've come out good before, and it's perfect for the season. So we threw that together. I sent in the group chat. We're like, okay, we like where it's starting, but it's just like too cartoony right now. So after that, I think then you kind of took the reins from it.
Yeah. Again, the cherry blossom is what really stood out to me. And I know, like growing up in New Jersey, especially where I was, it was some pretty long winters this year. And it was something that really spoke to me. Like there's one right outside my grandparents' house. And so it was kind of the first thing that I had thought of and like saw that in the original draft. And I was like, wow, we should go somewhere with that. And way back when I had made some sort of art where it was cutting in and out of an object, and so that's how I knew how to start off with that. At the time we didn't really have the other designs planned, and so I just kind of threw together a rough draft to begin, and that's when I sent it over to you guys, and you had made the recommendation, send it over to your dad and see how it would turn out. So take us through some of the process of turning that first draft into all these renditions that we got here, and what ended up.
We're not going to go through all those renditions. Well, first of all, I too also thought it looked cartoonish, but that's the concept. You want to start somewhere, and I never belittle anything. Just that's where you start. Where we're going is another story. Where you took it, taking the one item as opposed to many different items. You took the one item. And like you said, you brought it in and out. The thing that I was interested in doing was giving it a little bit more depth by, well, yes, they're going in and out, but the flowers should cast shadows onto the logo, and the logo where it's in front of the things cast shadow onto that. But what we didn't do is cast a shadow on everything. Yeah. And that would have looked a little too much. And so you guys had a really nice logo. I love the tagline, and so just playing with those pieces. Once you gave me the art, and then we got a higher res version. Yeah. It took a while to go through those higher res versions and clean up all the edges and stuff because there's always artifacts. I think your idea was right there from the start. All I did was clean it up. That's how I felt about it. So
no. We couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah, well, there's no way.
Yes.
So yeah, take me. Both of you guys played a pretty big role in it, but we had originally began with the cherry blossoms and kind of branching out from there. I know
out. You're killing me.
So,
see, they're not around here.
No, but yeah, we did branch out, and I know we wanted to incorporate some colors. So talk through the process of then finding the two other flowers that we wanted to use, and also deciding on the differences between the cherry blossom.
Yeah, so I think it was, you sent us the idea for the cherry blossom, and I think we loved the image from the start. Then, I don't remember, we were like, okay, we can't just have one design. So we were like, okay, let's like think of a mock-up for another one. So I think we were like, oh, let's just take a different flower. Oh, sorry, I think it started from before we even knew what design this was. We knew we wanted like pink, blue, and yellow for the spring, like these pastel colors that you think of like your Easter egg hunts or stuff like that. Like that's just spring where you wanted to go with it. So we're like, okay, we know the cherry blossom works. Now we need a blue flower. So once we got that ready, I guess we were just sending these to you to put like, I guess we'd send you the artwork, you'd arrange it on the logo, and then we'd start going back and forth. So is this like the first?
This I couldn't even tell you.
Oh my god. We went through
So there's a bunch in here. I think
yeah, where's like
our first one.
I'll number them next time.
I thought you did.
I did
It's in
on
the
some.
emails, yeah.
Yeah, in the emails.
But that's later, so this is earlier on. I think
It definitely started without the standard rating.
there was no standard rating. That was a big incorporation. This is the
It probably just started
one
with,
of the first ones that we had
Uh-huh.
that added the shadows in after there was nothing in it. And the pink's a bit different than what we ended up settling on.
Yeah. That, looking at it now, that's a pretty like in your face pink.
Yeah, it was very, very strong.
Fuchsia, magenta. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just going to jump for a second because choosing the different ones, I remember fighting you guys on it where I wanted them to all have the same feel, but the flowers didn't have the same feel, and I think you guys are right about this. Let each one have its own individuality, and its own style. So even though I fought you on it, I just said, well, you know what? If I'm not seeing what you're seeing, let me work on it until I do. And I got that. And you're right, when we first did this, and you just showed that one, was the pink was too harsh, but it helped the flowers stand out.
Yeah.
So again, I was fighting you, and I said, well, you need that contrast, blah, 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 blah. But what we end up doing it on the color shirts and everything, I think was more relaxed, more spring, more, in the long run, it was better that way. So what I love about collaborating with you guys is that you'll listen to me, you'll ignore me, and then we'll get a better product. So, but no, I really appreciated the collaboration and allowed me to work with you on this. And I think you were right on the money each and every time.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things that ended up happening was we had 3 colors. Once we got the 3 pieces of artwork, and you're like, oh, I think it was these 2. You're like, oh, this looks like, what was it? This was watercolor. This was more of like realism. Mm-hmm. And then we got this one. You're like, oh, this is like a pencil drawing. Like
it looked too rough, but it worked with that flower.
Right, and I just went, well, I think this is great because we have 3 different colors. Have them have 3 different styles appeal. Maybe if the color doesn't appeal or the flower doesn't appeal, the style will appeal to somebody. Yeah. And then it helped even more when we were trying to fit the stay underrated. Yes. And it just couldn't be the same on all of them. Mm-hmm. We're like, oh, we'll just do it 3 different places, and it just works out perfect. Yeah. So it kind of just like
that's one of the things where I won with the changing of where stay.
Oh, all of them.
Yeah. And you had moved it to one place. I said, well, if it's not going to be balanced, then you should do this, and you should try this, and again, you let me contribute what I could.
Absolutely. And I think speaking back to you talking about our collaboration process, I think for us, I think that's a pretty common experience that we have, and that's probably my most favorite part about working with you is we're never like just yesing somebody, even if we have an agreement. It's like, yes, I agree, but, or even, okay, yeah, we should do that, and then we should do this.
Mm-hmm. See, that's something I learned in one of the ideation sessions. You don't say but, because anything before but, is and works. It's called building on. I like that, and I'd like to try this. Now you're saying yours is a good idea, and I think I can push it a little further. And that's really what we did. You never said no to me. Mm-hmm. Never said no to me.
Yeah. And even with the text, I do remember our meeting about that, and every time we'd field all the options that we had, and it was like, okay, our original idea was, we're going to have them all in the same place. And we started looking at them, and we're like, okay, well, again, yes, we acknowledge that the flowers are different and that we're going for a different feel for each of them. And it was like, well, yeah, it's starting to make more and more sense. And it was like, okay, now how can we incorporate that? Or even for the two different styles of shirts, in the back of our mind, we always try to kind of plan content around how our designs and our clothes are going to work into it. And we're like, well, we want the flowers. That's our main purpose. But we also want to be able a bit more on the nose with like what our messaging is for our content. And so that's how we end up with the two different designs. And I think they both have such a different feel. That is what kind of made this collection special to me.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the other part of it, was where we wanted to have the shirts that you could have the stay underrated on the front or just a little flower. That was like little things you're asking for you to do, like, oh, do the flower with the logo, oh, throw stay underrated on, okay, take all that off and just have the flower. Because we wanted to appeal, if someone wants to have it brought across their chest, stay underrated, you can have that. But also, if you want to just have that little piece that's a little more subtle, that applies to just people generally wearing the shirt rather than like having the label out there, that works too. So that was great, we had those options. And as part of the collaboration piece, like, we'd have a meeting from like 8 to 9 p.m. and then before I went to sleep, I'd call you from like 9 to 10 p.m. to get this, and then you'd have the designs within the next day or two. So they work perfect. Shout out retirement. That helped a lot.
I think a little part of it that we could see on the blue and on the pink that just shows, because I always tell people they always want stuff to happen quicker, and I'll tell my friends about, like the ideas that we have and where we think we're going with them, and then they'll check in a few weeks later and like, oh, why, like, you haven't really gone anywhere. I'm like, oh, well, we have. So something for these, this was again from your suggestion, but we thought about it actually for probably 30 minutes in the call, is the distinction between having dots in it and dots out in it. And for us, it was such a big deal because, again, we thought it worked better with the logo, but then when it was standalone, it didn't make as much sense. But it's just little things like that really occupy our mind. And the same with, we had the challenge of filling in the blue.
That probably took the most work.
That was
and those patches.
And art-wise, it took because now I had to put it in, I had to fill it in, try to make it look, like part of the same artwork.
Yeah, I think this is the biggest pile we have. And that shows it.
So like, even this is the original image that we had, working with nothing in it. And we went in and we tried to figure out how much weight we should have in it, between how many parts we'd fill in. And then we went through colors and we figured out how much we could make it watercolor. And as you mentioned, I'm sure that process was definitely way harder, especially when David and I are coming back to you and being like, oh, we like that one, but we want it different.
But, like as simple as something like this area right here, would look nice on it, but I chose that I liked it better if it was filled in. Mainly because I didn't want to draw your eye away from one particular part. So, little things like that, going back and forth and sending them images, that took a lot of time.
One thing that I forgot we were even thinking about was changing the color of the crest. We were going to have like the blue or whatever color associated with the shirt, and also have a white and a black variation, and then also have all those variations on the different shirt colors.
And who had to make all those variations? And worth every cent you paid.
The new business.
The crew neck. It's on its way.
It is.
I think the yellow one was absolutely the easiest.
Once we established where we were going and what we liked and didn't like and how we wanted to move, and that one was one of the more solid pieces of art. So it was easier to retouch that one and then manipulate it,
But this one was fun as well. Like, all of them had their different challenges. Like, that one was hard to cut out and complete the branches. This one with the shading was a problem.
Within the leaves. And
this one, it wasn't as much of a problem, but about like arranging the different pieces together.
Yes.
I guess it was more of a fun thing, like deciding we just had these two flowers, so we want to add another one, and how should they all be crossing? I don't even think we touched on that, but I don't know if anyone noticed, but we always tried to make a little X with all the stems of the
Well,
of the flowers.
And that was, I don't know if that was intentionally your idea, but it was my idea when we saw it, because the original artwork had the stems crossing and had the X, and then this one we could extend it and with the blue, and then the other one, it was just a matter of I silhouetted it out and moved it over. That one's more extreme than any of the others, but I also liked it because of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I loved how this came out as well with the photo shoot that I did for this one, and that I guess it just worked out really well with the 3 models we had, that it really matched them as people who were like with Althea being the cherry blossom, like this beautiful flower that when I was writing the captions for it, it was like, its time is fleeting, but you always remember it kind of thing. Like that really is impactful to you. The orchid with Malia, I felt like blue really worked with her, but I think the orchid was that it stands out in its field. It's a very persistent flower, and it's also a rarity. But I thought the blue worked well with who she was, but also just like visually, it just made sense. And then I think Zoe, made this one like my favorite piece because it just worked so well with who she was, being so bright, energetic, like good vibes. Like I don't know how it ended up working that way, but even when I showed them the pieces that I want them to wear, they were all like, "Oh yeah, I like that one. Like that's the one I would."
That's the one. Yeah.
So yeah, that worked out really, really well.
Yeah, talking about all the details and I guess the steps that went along with it. When looking through to get all these and going through all the emails, probably at least 20 emails worth of revisions.
But it didn't take like 20 emails, but what? Did it take us a month to like go from start to finish?
Well, because we have lives. And
no,
moving
I was saying, I
between,
think that's
but
fast.
Yeah, no, everything was done as fast as it could be done. I knew I did, so the second you told me what you wanted, I was on top of it, and I was happy to do that. And more often than not, I got feedback from you either, hey, we're going to look at this tonight and then get back to you tomorrow. And then I knew what I had to do. So, it moved pretty quick, but it didn't feel like that at times, because we wanted it. Wait, shouldn't we be done with this already? No, all the details, right? From the very dots to how it crossed over, how the shadows worked. Yeah, so.
I don't know if maybe this is the wrong question for you, but to me, I never felt like we were spending too much time or got tired of these. Maybe you got tired of them, but it never felt like,
only because I'm old. Only because I'm old.
But I think it also really helped having you as my dad, me being able to, I can't sleep at 11 p.m. Let me just call him and relay what we did.
Let me just call him and wake him up.
That never happened.
No. I'm always up, so.
No, it was just like easy to have that like rapport, obviously together. Like if I had a graphic designer, I wouldn't be calling him at those times. I'd be.
All my other bosses always called me. I was always on call, so that's never a problem. But I know what you're saying.
Yeah. I think that expedited things a lot.
I mean, just seeing all the paperwork that we have here, I totally forgot because that wasn't what I remember most. What I remember most was when you guys were saying, "Oh, we really like this." I go, "Well, tell me, think about it for a day. Tell me if you need any more changes." "No, I think we got it." I'm going, "All right, I don't want you to rush," But no, and I got it done for you in the time earlier than we expected. So I kind of pushed you guys at a point, but it all worked out very nicely.
Absolutely.
And again, I appreciate the two of you working with you. I love the creativity that you bring to it with the files that you sent me that I was able to work with and stuff. So thanks again.
Yeah, so all this went well, and then once it went to the supplier, that's when all the problems started happening. But you didn't bring it, but we get the blue back, and you can't even. This is how we submit it. Like they on the website they gave us the hex number of this color, so we know we have the blue. We know our blue shows up on this blue. We get it back, and you can't see.
Can't see it
You can't
at
see
all.
the blue. It's just not there. We're like, oh.
I even remember. So I get it. I'm in my apartment. I get it. My roommate, who we're now working with, he so excited. He's like, "There's a box for you," and I've been studying like all day. I'm like, "Oh, it came," and he's like, "Yes, it came. I've been waiting for you to come home all day." So we're sitting on the couch, and I open it up, and there's the 3 colors, and I think I started with the cherry blossom one. I'm most excited for that one. I open it, I'm like, "Wow, this turned out great," and he's just like anxiously waiting. And they package them all the same to where like this is what you can see on the front. And so take out the yellow one next. I'm like, okay, this one's good. Like, I'm happy. And he's like, you didn't get any design on the front for the blue one? And I'm like, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
And he's like, there's no design on it. And like at first I'm like, oh, it's folded differently. And then I look and I'm like, oh, the design is there. It's you cannot see it at all.
Yeah.
And I think we learned some valuable lessons in that in terms of like how we're moving forward, in terms of the way we're going to get our products. But it was definitely a challenge we hadn't foreseen. I know something that was important to us moving into this one was going up a bit in the blank quality as well, which wasn't a main complaint of our first drop, but that's something we're always trying to work on. And I know we talk about it as we want our clothes to be good enough quality to where if you're not going to continue wearing it at a certain point, you're going to be passing it down to somebody else, or even if you're donating it, hopefully somebody else is able to find it in good enough quality that they can learn and to have an appreciation for it. And it was just like, it was like a shot in the arm when it was like, oh, we spent this extra money to make sure the quality's better, and then you just can't see it at all.
You reminded me while you were talking that this was the round that we thought someone stole this package off your porch.
That is true, yeah.
I was like, so it was marked as delivered.
Yeah.
But you go home,
yeah,
it's
not
not on
there.
the porch.
Yeah. And go home, not there. Wait a day. Nothing comes the next day. Like, all right, I'm going to go to the post office. It's a small town where I go to school. Go to the post office. Hey, did you get this package that says it's been delivered? Like, USPS said it, they delivered it. They asked where I live, they checked, they're like, nope, no package. The mailman comes in. There's only one mailman for the whole town. Comes in and he's like, she's like, oh, here he is. Did you get this package at this address? No, didn't come. So I think I called David, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go through Printful, we'll see, but I think we're just going to have to reorder it. Like, they said it's dropped off, gives it time, it's not there. Like, somebody must have taken it off the front porch.
And I'm sitting there like, dude, this is Potsdam, New York. Who's going around stealing stuff off of porches?
Yeah. And so super concerned, like I email customer support and they're like, hey, we'd love to help you, but because the post office said they delivered it, like it's not there. Email the post office again with this message. Like, so I email them, no response yet. Wake up the next day, it's on the porch. Like, and I get a text from again Garrett, and he's like, they arrived. I'm like, oh my god, they finally came. Which is just so funny because all the stuff that we have in bulk orders that we're like always like really concerned about shipping and always kind of is there like when we expected, and it was another obstacle that we hadn't foreseen, and I'm glad that's something that we learn now and we can try to build in some time.
Sounds like to me like somebody stole it, opened it up, said,
Oh,
I
fuck
don't want
that.
these, brought it back.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
I think that was our first photo shoot when I was doing it here. Didn't it come in it came in the night before the photo shoot? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, luckily this time around we ordered it for the photo shoot we did here. I had like a few days, so I was like taking my time ironing everything. Let me go drop it off at people's houses. So that was much better this time around. But I guess now we're having the same problem for the summer stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully that will be in soon.
Yeah. I think, again, it's a bit frustrating. We spend all the time making the designs, everything, and then once it's out of our hands, we just kind of have to wait. We kind of play witness to it, but yeah, I'm super happy with, again, like, even, I try to say it a lot, we learn a lot. Like, we're not losing, we're not, obviously, some things hurt a bit more than others, but the lesson that we're learning throughout all of them, I think, is what's been the best for us, and I think that's something we're learning a lot with social media. Like, it's hard to figure out what the algorithm wants and how we can get this to the people who really want it, and again, every time we post, it's a new lesson learned.
Absolutely.
So I guess going back a bit, speaking to you more, like when do we know, like when are we comfortable with final? Because I was alluding to it before. Yeah, like I was alluding to it before. I think our collaboration process is we're gonna put out the best product we possibly can because there's so much of not going back and forth, but creation, edit, revision, creation, edit, revision, creation, edit, revision. And I thought it was funny when I'm looking through the emails, I saw 2 different emails, 2 different colorways, and it says final version, parentheses, question mark. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's like how it feels with most of what we do. So for our first collection, even moving forward in terms of posts, because we have pretty big ambitions with everything that we do, at what point are we usually like, okay, like we're good enough to go ahead with this?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like that's not really a problem for us. Like you were saying, you were just like, oh, do you like them? We're like, yeah, we're done. We're like, oh, are you sure? We're like, yeah. I think it was that the first time we get something back, we usually create a checklist of this is what we need done. I give you the checklist. When it comes back, I make sure we hit all those things. Oh no, try this color. Oh no, do this.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when the checklist is done, we're just we're done. I think you're better on squeezing the trigger than I am though. Yeah. Like if it wasn't for you, I'd definitely be like looking over things a bit more, especially with the summer stuff. Like you're really like, yeah, if you like this, like I'm just going for it. Yeah. Like I get really I obsess over like the sizing of things, but we'll be on a call together. You're just like, yeah, we'll make it that big. I'll be like, sure. So I think we balance each other well as far as being nitpicky versus, hey, we need to move.
Yeah.
And we both have like traits of that. It's not like it's one and the other and we like clash on that. We both understand it. But yeah, I don't know. I give you the checklist. Once everything's checked off, Luke is like, okay, let's go with it. And
this is how my freelance business has always worked and the clients that I've been with, and it was the same thing. But if any changes get made, especially in text, if any changes to the art gets made and I send it back, I make sure this isn't final until you tell me it's final. And they do the same thing on their end, and they go over everything up. We got everything we said. Could you just give us this one more version? Sure, boom. And then that's what they show to their bosses, and then their bosses, like you, says, I'll go with that one. And that's it.
Yeah, I don't think we ever, once it was like to its final stage, I don't think we toiled over little things.
No.
Like we never went back and forth like, oh, change it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I know I bothered you guys about those little dots and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was just telling you, leave them.
Yeah, and I'm going, I like them, but how many is too many? And, I know him, so yes. But I liked it because we could put it on the outside and behind and stuff like that. So anyway, I just like the little touch because that also made this one different from that one, different from that one. So.
Yeah, speaking of both of you, I know it's a bit different for you in this situation, but even for you with all of your art that you've done previously, because I know what it felt like for me, especially like I hand printed them. What was the feeling like to see our designs that obviously we can have out on the paper and it prints pretty quick? You can watch it come out of the printer, but to have it come onto the shirt, and for the most part, we've been, like I said, excluding maybe the blue one, they've come out how we've envisioned them. Mm-hmm. How was it for you to experience that moment for the first time and like be like, wow, like this is like what we made?
I feel like it moved so fast. I don't know if I really had that wow moment. It was always like, okay, get the design done, it's done. Okay, samples come in. Okay, samples are good. We gotta order for the photo shoot. Yeah. Photo shoot samples came in. Okay, I gotta iron these and get them to the people before the photo shoot. But I was always, I think it was when we would reach the final, I was like, this looks good. Like I'm excited. I'm really proud of this and I'm excited to get it in people's hands and get it out there. So I definitely felt that. And I don't know, I was never too worried about them. So when they came in, I was just like, oh, they look great. This is how they were supposed to look. Okay, let's keep moving.
And just so you guys know, you were no worse and no better than any other client I ever had. Seriously, I love the feedback, and like I said before, how we collaborated and stuff like that. But in the long run, you never said anything that was, ridiculous. You never expected the undeliverable, and you always appreciated when it got to you as soon as it got to you. So you were great clients, and
So you didn't have to deal with invoices.
and glad I'm not dealing with invoices. But really, seriously, I've known you all your life. I've only known you for a few years, but you're both professional, but you're also personable, and it made it easy to work with you. So in that case, you're above most of my clients. But no, seriously, you guys did a great job from start concept, drawing it up to your design is right there. Mine is just tightening it up. So great job.
Thank you. And I know you haven't gotten your crew neck yet; it's on the way.
Yeah.
But like when you see these in person, how does it feel for you?
I was going to answer, but he was talking to you about it. I always feel good when I see the work that gets put in, especially if what the client and I are working on, from brochures to concept, PowerPoint presentations and stuff. When I see everything is put together and it meets all the criteria that I was told we needed it to meet, I always feel proud of the work that I do. So I've been very fortunate with my freelance. This was, exceptional because it's with you, my son. But at the same time, I know what you're trying to build. I like the concept behind what you're trying to bring to the table here. And I didn't know you well enough. I thought these were great designs. So it was, I was happy to work on them. So again, I felt very proud once I saw them, once I saw people wearing them, once I saw the social media and looking on them and going like, this really worked out well. Yeah, it really worked out well.
It did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's a great place to end it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. Hey.
Pleasure working with you.
Oh, what do you mean that's not on?
Oh. Take that next week.
You'll fix me in
great.
post.
Yeah.